Welcome. We are discussing stiffness method, also called as displacement method, in structural analysis 2 course organized by Pimpri-Chinchwad College of Engineering and Research, Ravet. And so far we have seen analysis of continuous beams, also analysis of non-sway frames, and today in the last lecture we are seeing a sway frame. You must be remembering that in slope deflection method or moment distribution method, analysis of sway frame is quite involved. In slope deflection method, we have to consider equilibrium of each column. We have to find end shears, base shears. Then we have to consider equilibrium of entire frame. And then those base shears we have to convert into equivalent end moments. That is, we have to eliminate base shears, express an equation into equivalent end moments, and then we get sufficient number of equations as is the number of unknowns, and then we can finish the problem. In MD method, it is even more involved because we do not know the amount of sway. So we assume an arbitrary sway delta prime. We assume an arbitrary reaction R prime. Then we convert the end moments found corresponding to R prime into those which should actually be there corresponding to R, the actual reaction. That is, we have to do moment distribution 2 times. Then we have to do interpolation and we have to also do superposition. So slope deflection or moment distribution, these methods prove to be very lengthy for sway analysis. Now stiffness method has its advantage in this fact that the analysis is as straightforward as is your continuous beams analysis or your non-sway frames analysis. So stiffness method proves to be most efficient, I should say, amongst all displacement methods as far as sinking of support or sway analysis is concerned. So let us see. This is our problem given, obviously a sway frame, because at B point or C point you can imagine that it is not restrained to sway at all. It is freely undergoing sway. We have column AB 4 meters subjected to 60 kilonewton transverse load at midspan. We have BC again 4 meter span subjected to UDL of 40 kilonewton per meter intensity, and we have column CD which is 3 meter span, and CD is not loaded with any transverse load. Support D is fixed, support A is fixed. Obviously this is a sway frame and we are going to have degree of kinematic indeterminacy as 3 because there is going to be theta B, there is going to be theta C, and also there is going to be sway of delta. Here we must remember our assumption that members are inextensible, so that delta B and delta C are not different. Delta B same as delta C is equal to delta BC, let us say. That is applicable to the entire beam. Rightwards we are going to assume because rightwards is positive, and as far as rotations are concerned, anti-clockwise are positive. So that is what I have written in my first step. After observing the given configuration, degree of kinematic indeterminacy is 3. I am assuming D1 unknown joint displacement or unknown sway. D1 I am writing as delta BC. Delta BC means applicable to B point as well as C point, presumably rightwards. So here you have to notice one thing and you have to keep it in your mind that node 1 is not corresponding to point 1 that is point A or point B or point C or point D, node 1 is not corresponding to, or D1 is not corresponding to a particular point, but it is corresponding to the entire sway. It is applicable to the total BC beam of our frame. Please remember this. Then D2 is theta B, presumably anti-clockwise. D3 is theta C, again presumably anti-clockwise. I repeat, D1, when I am talking about 1, my focus is the sway of beam BC. When I am talking about D2, 2, my focus is rotation at B point. And when I am talking about D3, that is node 3, displacement, it is rotation at C point. Please bear this well in mind so that we will understand the further things precisely. Next step, as per our method, stiffness method, is to restrain all the joints. So that is what schematically I have shown here. I have restrained joint B, I have restrained joint C, A and D are anyway fixed, and then I have shown fixed end moments generated due to loads. Those fixed end moments are MFAB, MFBA, MFBC, MFCB, MFCD and MFDC are 0 because column CD is not carrying any transverse load. But in addition to these fixed end moments, if you observe carefully, I have also shown HB. And I might have shown HC had there been any load on this column, but since it is unloaded, HC and HD both are 0, but there is going to be HB and there is going to be some HA. Now you may be wondering that in all the problems we have solved so far, I have been discussing only fixed end moments. And then why suddenly where from this HB, HA, HD, HC is appearing? So because this is a sway frame. One of our unknown joint displacements is a sway, that is D1 is equal to delta BC. So corresponding to delta BC, it is translation. When I am talking about translation, my corresponding action is force reaction. And when I am talking about rotations, my corresponding action is couple movement, that is fixed end movement. So that is the reason why we have shown HB, HA and why we are discussing HC and HD, though they are zeros. Value is 0. So understand please, rotation whenever I consider, I am focused upon couple movements. Translation whenever I am concerned with, I am focused upon forces. So I have calculated MFAB, MFBA, MFBC, MFCB, MFCD, MFDC are all zeros. I have also calculated HB and HA. Since this rightward force on column is 60, obviously the two reactions will be leftwards, 30 kilonewton and 30 kilonewton each, because 60 is acting at midspan. So that's what I am writing, HB is equal to HA. Though HA is something we are not going to require anywhere, just to make the point clear that these two reactions will be equal and half exactly of the transverse load. I have written HB is equal to HA is equal to 30 kilonewtons leftwards, and similarly I have written HC is equal to HD is equal to 0. How have I calculated MFAB and MFBA? Obviously PL upon 8, standard result. This is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. How have I calculated MFBC? WL squared by 12, standard result for UDL. So all this we have done n number of times. Please calculate, please see that you are getting those answers. Once you have all the fixed end movements and all the reactions in place, now comes a very crucial part, that is writing ADL 1, 2 and 3. Do please pay attention so you will understand this perfectly. ADL 1. What is the meaning of ADL 1? it is action corresponding to D1. ADL1 means action corresponding to D1 due to loads. So if you observe carefully, my D1 is delta BC translation. So action corresponding to this translation is going to be force acting at B point and force acting at C point horizontally, that too, because my delta is horizontal, my sway is horizontal. We are not concerned with vertical motions at all. Our sway is horizontal, so I am concerned with horizontal actions, that too horizontal forces. So actually my ADL1 is going to be HB plus HC, but since HC is 0, my ADL1 is only HB, and that I am writing as negative 30 kilonewtons because it is leftwards. See that you follow this point perfectly, and by comparison you will understand it better. For example, how have I written ADL2? ADL2 is what? It is action corresponding to D2 because of loads in the restrained structure. What is D2? D2 is theta B. D2 is rotation at B point. So I am concerned with couple movements at B points. So I am concerned with MFBA and MFBC. That is what I have shown here. ADL2 is equal to MFBA plus MFBC. Choosing the values from what we have written here, MFBA is negative 30, MFBC is positive 53.33, so I am getting 23.33 kilonewton meter. That is my ADL2. So since action corresponding to D2, which is rotation, is summation of these movements acting at B. Similarly, action corresponding to translation of BC is going to be horizontal force at B point and horizontal force at C point, their combined effect, total effect, that is vector summation. However, since HC is 0, I am simply getting ADL1 as HB, that is equal to leftwards 30 kilonewtons means negative 30 kilonewtons. And in the same fashion, we are writing ADL3. What is ADL3? In the restrained structure, it is the action corresponding to D3 because of loads. D3 means rotation at C point. Action corresponding to D3 in restrained structure because of loads is going to be MFCB plus MFCD. That is what I am writing here. Now since there is no transverse load here, neither do we have HC, nor do we have MFCD, nor do we have MFDC. So we are simply getting ADL3 is equal to MFCB. MFCB I have already found here, that is negative 53.33 kilonewton meter. So please make it certain that you are understanding ADL1, ADL2, ADL3. That is very crucial. Next and equally crucial point is stiffness coefficient or stiffnesses. Please observe this diagram. Our D1 is translation or sway. So what we are doing? We are giving unit sway to the entire frame, or in other words, we are imagining that BC is getting displaced rightwards by a unit amount. Now corresponding to this unit translation, the force which is acting at point B as well as at point C, these two are constituting S11 because it is force corresponding to node 1 due to displacement, unit displacement corresponding to node 1. That is your translation, that is your sway. So as I keep on saying, whenever you think of translation, think of force. Whenever you think of rotation, you think of movement. So in the same way, since I am imagining unit translation, the corresponding force generated at B end as well as C end, because if you look at our D1, it is delta BC as has been pointed out even earlier. So at B as well as C, that's why I am writing here S111 and S112, in the sense the two components, the two parts together are constituting S11, stiffness 11, because one node corresponds to sway. Our S11 has to be a force. So that is what we are writing here. S11 is equal to, now for this force we have a standard formula, 12 EI upon L cube. Whenever far end is fixed and this end is moving by delta, we have 12 EI upon L cube into delta as our reaction. Here delta is 1. So I am writing S11 is equal to 12 EI upon L1 cube. L1 corresponds to length AB, and 12 EI upon L3 cube. L3 corresponding to length CD, that is equal to, if you substitute L1 as 4 meters and L3 as 3 meters, you will get 0.63 EI. That is my S11. It is made up of this force as well as this force. Why force? Because we are talking about sway translation. Also, simultaneously you are observing some couple movement generated here. This has to be S21 because 2 node corresponds to rotation at B. This movement has to be S31 because 3 node corresponds to rotation at 3. So, unit translation, that is cos corresponds to node 1 and moment corresponds to node 2, moment corresponds to node 3. That's why the stiffnesses are S21 and S31. Again we have standard formula, S21 is equal to 6 EI upon L1 square, that is giving me 0.375 EI, where L1 square is obviously 4 square. We already know S21 is equal to S12, though I am yet to define S12, I have directly written here, that is equal to, my calculation is 0.375 EI, and observe calculation for S31 same as S13 is equal to 6 EI upon L3 square. L3 is this length, so that is 3 meters. If I substitute, I am getting 0.67 EI. So all these parameters calculated from diagram number 1. Now we go to the figure number 2, where we are giving unit rotation at B point. That is our D2 is theta B. So we are imagining unit rotation at B point. Corresponding stiffness I will be writing as S22. Since both member BA as well as BC are undergoing unit anti-clockwise rotation, S22 is equal to 4 EI upon L1 plus 4 EI upon L2. Both L1 and L2 are 4 meters as per the original given data, so that this will be 4, 4 and 4, 4 cancelling out, giving me 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 times EI. Also, whenever I generate this unit rotation, and this is 4 EI upon L1 for this member, this will be 2 EI upon L1. We are knowing it, but we are not considering it here because that is none of our stiffness coefficients. However, simultaneously a reaction like this and like this is generated. Whenever you are giving unit rotation, there is this couple movement, and these two simultaneously generated end shears or force reactions. So I am calling it as S12. Why S12? 1 is corresponding to my first node, which is sway, which is translation. So I am showing it as force, and 2 because the cause is rotation at B, that is our D2. So stiffness coefficient has to be S12, and that we have already calculated as 0.375 EI. Observe this particular couple moment. It is corresponding to rotation at C due to rotation at B. That's why it has to be S32, and it is going to be 2 EI upon L2. So that is what we have written. S32 is equal to 2 EI upon L2. L2 is 4 meters, so I am getting here 0.5 EI, and S32 will be same as S23 as we have already learned. Finally, we go ahead with the third diagram in the succession of 3 diagrams of unit rotations. So here I am giving unit rotation to C point. You are observing CB is also bending as well as CD is bending. So unit rotation here as well as here. That's why the corresponding stiffness S33 I am writing as 4 EI upon L2 plus 4 EI upon L3. Substitute L2 as 4, L3 as 3. You will get 2.33 EI. The other stiffnesses, that is this stiffness S13 or this stiffness S23, we have already calculated while finding their counterparts. Counterparts in the sense the stiffness matrix is symmetric. So we are aware S13, S31 are same, S12, S21 are same, similarly 32, 23 are same, likewise. So, unit positive translation, unit positive rotation at B, unit positive rotation at C, these 3 have generated all the stiffness coefficients. So we know ADL, L1, L2, L3. We know all the stiffnesses, and we are also knowing AD1, AD2, AD3. They are going to be 0, because if you observe here at B or C point, there is no transverse load acting on the frame. At B or C point, there is no couple moment acting on the frame. So there is no action corresponding to D1, D2 or D3 in the original given configuration. That's why we are saying AD1, AD2 and AD3 are 0. So once all our parameters are in place, we directly go ahead with the equilibrium equation or superposition equation, which is AD is equal to ADL plus S into D. I substitute. ADs are 0 as discussed just now. ADL1, ADL2, ADL3 I am picking up from the values we have found already here. Stiffness coefficients EI I am taking outside. All the stiffness factors we have calculated here, so I am choosing from there. And of course the unknown joint displacements D1, D2, D3 are delta, theta B, theta C. So I have 3 equations to be solved simultaneously, 3 algebraic equations in 3 unknowns. So if I solve these equations, I get D1, which is delta BC, that is the amount of sway, is equal to 46.23 upon EI. D2 is equal to theta B, rotation at B point is equal to negative 24.02 upon EI, and D3 is equal to theta C is equal to 14.74 upon EI. So here are the slope deflection equations. We have found delta BC, theta B, theta C. Using these values we are able to find the end moments. I am writing M of AB is equal to fixed end moment contribution, far end rotation contribution, and because there is sway, there is delta B relative to A, so that particular contribution, that is translation contribution, is considered. Here delta B relative to A, I will be substituting negative, and after putting all these values, I am getting 35.32 kilonewton meter as M of AB. Then M of BA, I have fixed end moment, near end rotation for B point, and again the relative translation. Substitution gives me negative 36.7 kilonewton meter. You please actually calculate. you see that you are following each and every term in this slope deflection equation. Substitute these values, substitute values for L, length of each span, and then you will get these answers. M of BC is fixed end moment, near end rotation contribution, far end rotation contribution. However, there is no relative translation between C point and B point. Entire BC is swaying or translating rightwards. That's why that last term of delta C relative to B, something like that, is absent. So I substitute, I get 36.7 kilonewton meter. Here is a cross check. These two values are equal and opposite. Then I go ahead with M of CB. Again fixed end moment, near end rotation contribution, theta C I am substituting here. Far end rotation contribution, theta B I am substituting here. I am getting negative 50.6 kilonewton meter. M of CD, fixed end moment is not there because we are observing that MFCD is 0. Then there is near end rotation contribution and there is delta D relative to C. Again this factor I am going to substitute negative so that I am getting 50.6 kilonewton meter, equal and opposite. So that is again a cross check that we are on the right track. And finally I am writing M of DC is equal to, again there is no fixed end moment. I have far end rotation contribution and delta D relative to C, the translation of the sway contribution. This term is same as this term. I substitute this as negative. I substitute theta C. I am getting 40.64 kilonewton meter. So these are my end moments found using slope deflection equations after getting unknown displacements. One more point. Why did I say that delta B relative to A I am substituting negative, or for that matter delta D relative to C I am substituting negative? What is the significance or what is the reason of substituting negative value here? So for that you will have to refer to our slope deflection method, slope deflection lectures, because in that very step by step carefully it was shown that whenever such a frame is given to you, how do we rotate the two columns, convert the frame into a continuous beam, just for the sake of theoretical discussion. And then what happens when there is a sway, how B point goes down relative to A, how C point goes up relative to A, so that D point goes relatively down to C. Try to understand. It is delta B relative to A. So if B is below A, we write this factor as negative. Similarly, whenever there is this rightward sway and I have converted the diagram into a diagram of continuous beam, just for the sake of discussing sign convention, C goes above D level, that means D is below C. So when I write delta D relative to C here as well as here, since D is below C, there again I substitute it as negative. So if you are not following this brief revision, this brief touching to that concept, go back to slope deflection equations, see the sway frame analyzed using slope deflection there. Using diagrams, all this was explained in a couple of problems very carefully. You will come to know why these two are negative, why these two are negative, and then how you are getting these answers. Now what is left is superposition method. Use end moments, plot span moments, and you have your bending moment diagram. So that is BMD for the sway frame. And with this we have finished our stiffness method concept. We started with continuous beams, we discussed a few simple problems, then we discussed continuous beam with sinking of support, with overhanging portion, then last lecture we discussed non-sway frames, degree of kinematic indeterminacy 2 as well as 3, and today we are discussing a sway frame, and here how this node 1 represents sway. Node 1 is not a point. like A or B or C or D, it is representing sway of BC. Accordingly, this as well as this is going to be your S11. Accordingly, you are going to define your further stiffnesses. Accordingly, you have defined your ADL. See that you are following all this and keep this fact in mind that translation means corresponding actions are forces, rotation means corresponding actions are couple moments. Okay, so with this we have finished stiffness method discussion. All kinds of problem we have solved. At the most, what variety you may expect in addition to this? It is possible that this would be given as I, this would be given as 2I, this would be given as 1.5 times I, something like that. Not in a difficult problem, not in a sway frame problem, in some other problem, simpler problem. So there your stiffness calculation will vary, your slope deflection equations will vary in the sense wherever you are substituting I, there probably you may have to substitute carefully 2I, 1.5I, 3I, like that. Otherwise we have covered all types of numerical examples. So thank you, and in the next lecture see you for or with discussion of flexibility method. Thank you.